OnePlus 15 is a very controversial phone at the start of this review. Normally, reviewers or influencers will praise how good the phone is because of everything it offers. I think a lot of reviewers started the review backwards by indicating the loss of the Hasselblad logo and some other things that might throw you off. But after the hype and disappointments, once the sand settles down, I'll provide with all the pros and cons of this phone and with everything it offers and the price point. Is this phone worth it? Let's start with the negative or the cons of this phone, and I feel like this is a mixed bag for some because I feel like a lot of the negatives are just nitpicking on the phone, but I'll still provide you with my honest opinion on this. First is the downsizing of the camera or the camera limitation. It's all about the hardware, and I will discuss in details the components of OnePlus 15, starting with the main sensor. So it's a Sony IMX906. The phones that uses this sensor are the older Honor 100 and Xiaomi 15T, or rather Xiaomi 14T. So the main sensor will be on the mid-range to flagship category. The telephoto sensor is a 50-megapixel Samsung ISO cell GN5, and the phone that uses this is the Honor 600 Pro, Motorola G200, and Poco X4, so mostly mid-range phones for the optical zoom. And then we have the ultra-wide, and the sensor is OmniVision OV50D, and phones like Realme 14 and Motorola G Power uses this ultra-wide. It's a bit underwhelming in terms of the camera performance. Like other influencers says, the camera sensors of this phone are smaller compared to the other flagship phones. And this brings me to my second negative on this phone, that they loses the Hasselblad partnership, and right off the bat, you already see the dip in camera hardware. Feels like OnePlus went back to those days wherein they will give you really good performance, but forgetting the camera quality. This is a familiar dance for OnePlus. My third reason is the generic design, and when I say generic, this looks like Oppo Find X9 Pro. I think it's very similar looking at the back camera module. One may argue it's different, maybe the internals are different, but the design is strikingly similar. My fourth con is I agree with Marquez of MKBHD. OnePlus should give us variation of this series. They should give us a regular and an ultra or a pro version, because it's really hard to distinguish if this is a top of the line or just an entry level flagship, because I don't see much of a difference between this and the top of the line mid-range phone. Of course, some would say the processor is different, there's some subtle changes, but other than that, I will take MediaTek processor, cheaper price tag compared to OnePlus 15. So they should be able to give us an ultra version where they pack everything from the flagship processor, awesome screen, and great cameras. And my last reason is the high price point. I don't argue that this phone should be around $899 to $999 just because of what it offers. Sure, you have a little bit of everything from the subtle adjustments and refinements, but none of those are really important to consumers. I think this is more for spec junkies who review the phones, and people might think that they will get away with numbers. I still feel for a smartphone, camera should be the priority, and then performance, and then the ecosystem. Now the negatives are out of the way, we can talk about all the good things about OnePlus 15 and what makes this phone a true flagship, starting with the runner-up, one of the reasons why you should buy OnePlus 15. And on my unboxing experience, this phone has a charger out of the box, so that's around $50 extra that went to purchasing a charger. Now discussing my first positive, starting with the performance. This phone packs serious horsepower. The moment I opened the phone and play around with it, I knew this phone will be one of the fastest phone at the end of 2025, even early 2026. I actually brought the lower variant, 12 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage, just to check how fast the base model will be. And as soon as I fired the Geekbench 6, this one is even faster than iPhone 17 Pro and Galaxy S25 Ultra, even beating other flagship phones out there. So imagine the top of the line 16 gigs variant of this phone. That's nuts. You pair it with UFS 4.1 storage, and the read and write is really fast on this phone, making this a perfect gaming smartphone. And then there's a 7300 mAh silicon carbon battery that's capable of 100 to 120 watts charging and 50 watts wireless charging. This actually alone had me curious when I opened this phone. In terms of battery performance, with that efficient Snapdragon 8 Gen Elite, this is probably one of the best battery life on any smartphone today. That is on the slim category, meaning it's not like rugged phones with huge battery with bigger size. This is a slim phone like Poco F7 but packs serious battery life. The next great reason to buy this phone is the software support. So it offers 4 years of OS upgrade and 6 years of security patches. That goes as far as the popular brands like Apple, Samsung, and Google. I like that they offer this because the processor can handle multiple OS upgrade. I also like the Oxygen OS 16. It feels clean and quick. Also, there's a plus button that replaces the physical slider, and you can map it to any selected function that it offers. The next positive of this phone is the incredible display, and this is a 10 out of 10 for me to begin with. The refresh rate of OnePlus 15 is 165 Hz, and this is changing from 100 on sleep to 165 on gaming. I noticed that it's not 165 across all the apps. If the game supports 165 Hz, then you will get that refresh rate. Also, another runner-up is below the 6.8-inch AMOLED screen is the consistent and reliable fingerprint sensor that's even better than the Samsung competition. And the last pro of this phone is the solid build quality. So although the design is a copy-paste from Oppo X9 series, but in terms of build quality, starting with the paint process, it uses micro-arc oxidation, which is more environmental friendly and more durable than anodization. It also has Gorilla Glass Victus 2 in front, and the phone itself has IP68 and IP69K rated, which means you can submerge this phone to fresh water 2 meters for 30 minutes. So what's your verdict? OnePlus 15 is a solid phone. It's a tale of great performance, barrow design, and mediocre camera on papers, but with everything it offers from the top-notch performance, great screen, long battery life, and solid build, OnePlus 15 is a familiar phone. It's like OnePlus 6 or OnePlus 7, wherein you have a flagship killer specs and disregarding the camera performance. Now they're back, not just a flagship killer, but pushing the boundaries of performance on a higher price tag. OnePlus 15 is a familiar dance.